Yeah. All I ever wanted to do was draw pictures and write stories growing up. In high school, I was this quiet teenage, kind of like monk, who wanted to shut my bedroom door for hours and just draw and write. I graduated high school with a whopping 2 friends, and I was really happy with that, actually. I didn't even care. So when the conversation about where to go to college started to swirl around junior year, I was nervous that my dad, who was a science math guy, called all the shots. I mean, he ran a company, very alpha, would insist that I go to business school or law school or something like that. Imagine my joy when my father asked the most delightful question I ever heard. What art school would you like to attend? I still want to fall down thinking of that because it's so shocking. I'd never even mentioned art school, but they just knew because they were paying attention. Even though they weren't art people, both of them were very, conservative Midwestern people. But they said, of course you should go to art school. It's your calling. All you do is draw all day and your drawings are beautiful. But which art school? So with my portfolio of drawings, I chose Pratt Institute in Brooklyn. My parents always nurtured my love for art and writing, and I'm really fortunate that I have had such great parents. Fast forward to October 2015. I was working in Los Angeles as a publicist full-time and doing really well at it. It wasn't my dream job of writing or painting, but it was a good job in entertainment. It paid the bills. One thing publicists do a lot of is escorting their clients down red carpets so they can be interviewed and photographed. I was asked to walk a child actor down the red carpet of the movie premiere of Suffragette. I don't know if you remember this movie from a few years ago, Suffragette. It starred Helena Bonham Carter, Meryl Streep, Carey Mulligan. So my mother calls me on my cell phone as I'm walking these stars down the red carpet, and she's freaking out. She goes, I can't do this alone anymore. Your father, I think, has Alzheimer's disease, and it's getting worse. I now have an eye infection and a terrible backache. I'm so stressed out. He won't even come down off the roof. You must get home immediately. You must help me. Hollywood can't be more important than your family. Well, of course it's not. I was frozen. I still have that message saved on my cell phone. I knew in an instant that my parents needed me a zillion times more than any red carpet. So I basically came to Vero Beach Christmas 2015 and stayed. I left my PR job. That night, by the way, I was offered a really big Hollywood job, and I just turned it down because I knew my parents needed me. So I'd seen my father that summer of 2015, and I saw some little red flags about his memory. He was asking me questions over and over, but it wasn't a huge thing, and I thought, if it is Alzheimer's, his mother died from it, I thought it'll take years before it really gets bad. Well, it took 3 months. I mean, it was crazy how fast. And then Mom, when I got home, she looked like she was dying. She was so brutalized by taking care of him, chasing him around. 2016 was the roughest year. I spent the entire year here in Vero Beach policing Dad because every move he made veered on disaster. He canceled the TV and phone on a monthly basis when the bills came because he couldn't understand what they were or why we had them. He was hostile. He'd get in fist fights with strangers in public places. He was hostile with my mother. He was driving everywhere. He was on the roof. Oh my God, I'd lay in bed in the morning when I'd wake up just going, God help me, God help me, God help me, just staring at the ceiling over and over and over because I was so desperate. I never felt so alone about anything, and I just knew God was listening, and God did help me. Ultimately, we had to place Dad in an Alzheimer's home, which is called a memory care facility in Vero Beach, until he suddenly died 1 year ago, actually, exactly. As most people with Alzheimer's die, which is choking on food because they've lost their memory on how to swallow, and their ability on how to swallow. So I've been living with Mom for the past 3+ years, making sure she's okay. My parents met in 4th grade and fell in love instantly and never were apart until now. 51 years of marriage. So Alzheimer's is a fate worse than death. My moving to Vero Beach, Florida, though, I realized for my own sanity that I needed to do something to kind of keep myself not just being, drained as a caregiver. So I picked up art again. I kind of put it on hold for a long time, and I did more writing. And these were things I was too busy or exhausted to do, living and working as a publicist in Los Angeles. So within a month of living in Florida, I suddenly felt more creative than ever. Kind kind of like John Lunar Ritchie said earlier, I started writing for the Press Journal here at our newspaper. I was an art docent at the gallery at Windsor in Vero. I hosted a movie series at the Vero Beach Museum of Art and taught classes there. I played the Mad Hatter from my all-time favorite story, Alice in Wonderland, at a children's event. I taught screenwriting workshops to adults, I still do, poetry to teenagers in Jupiter, art to 101-year-old ladies at assisted living homes in Vero. And I'm currently teaching art to cancer patients receiving chemo at a clinic in Vero, the first art and cancer program in the state of Florida. And these were all little gigs I did just to keep me balanced and buoyant and alive feeling. I never would have done these things if I stayed in LA. So this has been like a rebirth coming here. And I painted a lot. So much so that I had my first art exhibit in Florida at several galleries locally. And so Dad's disease and Mom's need for me and Vero Beach, these were all unexpected godsends. Plus I seemed to get in better shape. I was swimming, biking, chasing Dad around, walking the beach. I was living in my car in Los Angeles. I never had any exercise. In the past year, I finished 3 screenplays, 1 stage play, and I directed a few short comedy films. One went to the Cannes Film Festival last year, and as a result of that, the movie about Sally Kirkland was financed, which is going into production this summer in LA. Weirdly, all because of Alzheimer's disease. So these curveballs that life throw you, life is full of curveballs, but we're all the better for it, weirdly, ultimately. I've been away from Hollywood now for 3 years, and my Hollywood career has never been better. So my family is healing as best they can, and I made it through the most grueling couple of years, 100 times better than I was before. Life is good. Yay. That's my story. Thank you. I see you right there. Thank you all for coming. This is your life. Larry Pierce, everybody. Oh my God. This is so great. Thank you all so much. I'm going to drink wine now and eat stuff.
Are you an only child?